G'day, my name's Dean Willie, Willey. I'm 48 years old. I'm a dialysis patient. I have a disease called IgA nephropathy, which is immunoglobulin A, which technically is a autoimmune disease. Now, I've been faced with a dilemma. So I've been told at dialysis that I can't receive dialysis unless I either they're going to force me to see a psychiatrist. But what's interesting is I did have an ITO, but it's been revoked months ago. And they're bringing up things of the past, which have been resolved. And now they're forcing this against me. They often come to dialysis, in a state where I'm defenseless and I'm on the machine, my heart's having to work harder, and they're circling. Now, I contacted the Royal Brisbane Hospital and they said that there is no ITO in place. So theoretically, there's nothing they can do. I don't harm people. Certainly not in danger of harming myself. And I haven't done anything illegal. Now, what I don't understand is that I get along with 90% of the nurses wonderfully at Redcliffe. We laugh, we joke, and I ask them about their life. I ask them about everything. And we have such big, deep D&Ms. And sometimes we get onto spirituality. And it's funny, they will be the ones that will say it or bring it up. They'll say, I'm a Christian. What's interesting is a lot of them are Indian and they're Christian, which is strange. Because I used to work at a college called Hibernia back in between 2010 and 2012. And they were mostly Punjab, but there were a vast array of different nationalities. A lot of South Sea Asians, different people from different parts of India, some Europeans. It was wonderful, but none of them ever subscribed to Christianity. So, my spiritual beliefs have been a big component for my life and have helped me survive. And the thing is, when people from Queensland Mental Health use that against you, then they're essentially bridging church and state together, which has not been the case for hundreds of years. Sorry. And so they have no jurisdiction. And look, I'm not very good at making videos. I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to be myself and say exactly what I think. Now, I started dialysis at Redcliffe in March 2nd, last week of February of this year, so 2026, after spending 3 weeks at Fresnius. On March 2nd, I left my faith. And, sorry, just you can tell I really love music. It's a big component of my life. Anyway, long story short, there was a session of dialysis and I was extremely cold. I only have half an hour to go. And Paul talks about being buffeted, and I felt buffeted. There were two particular individuals which I don't like at that previous session. And I actually questioned my nurse at the time, Sergi, and I said, have you noticed those two men who always wear the same attire? They always wear black hoodies, always. One of them always wears a Grim Reaper shirt. One of them always wears glasses. And man, it can be daytime, it can be 8 o'clock at night, and there's fluorescent lights everywhere. The place is lit up like a Christmas tree, but he wears glasses. It's funny because I often like to look at people's eyes to see what character they are. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, fair enough. I mean, maybe he was, sensitive to light, let's say. Cool, whatever. And it doesn't matter. During that time, I don't know why, but my dialysis reduced to twice a week. And I was ordered to do so by renal themselves. And if I remember correctly, it was because I had residual kidney function and I was urinating quite a lot. But then they flipped the narrative and said that it was because of my mental health. So which is it? And if it was mental health, wouldn't you be giving this person more dialysis? You have to also consider that I was displaying disequilibrium syndrome symptoms. I would only be able to be on the machine for 2 hours, and then I would get the worst headache. My heart would start skipping beats. I felt detached. I'll be vomiting for hours. No, and paracetamol wouldn't mitigate any headache. But now I can tolerate 4 hours fine, 3-hour sessions. So even if I'm displaying strange behaviour, let's just consider it was dialysis brain. Okay? So anyway, after that incident, I said, let me out of here, I need to go. I threw a couple of F-bombs. I walked out. Now they're claiming I kicked the wall, which is not true. I kicked the button to help open the glass door, and I thumped the elevator button. But I didn't hurt anyone, So anyway, the police and the ambulance come, and they're like, oh, I mean, people leave dialysis early all the time, and they don't get police and ambos come to their doors. So I said, you can't come in. So they smashed my door open. I haven't hurt anybody. I haven't hurt myself. And I haven't committed any crimes. So, okay, I thought, whatever, you're in, what can I do? I yield. Now, they took me up to hospital and they put me in a bed for a few hours. I couldn't sleep. I'm worried about my cat. I'm worried about the door damage because I'm a dialysis patient. I can't work. I've worked all my life as a support worker, as a carer. Now, if I'm dangerous, how could I have had a successful work as a carer all those years? And my memory is very good because I'm able to dispense medication just on recall with 100% accuracy. And I did it for over 20 years. My other training is graphic design, but I wasn't as successful in that. And it was hard to gain full-time work. So I'd always default back to support work. Now, if I can yield a successful support work career, am I dangerous? I've looked after a whole host of different people with different ailments, from Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, spinal injuries especially. I worked in that field for a long time. Mild ADHD, you name it. Schizophrenia. I've done it all. Now, they forcibly removed me from my house, kept me awake for over 25 hours. They put me in a room in Redcliffe Hospital. Now, for whatever reason, they had at least 3 to 5 security guards, and I tried to leave at one point, and they smashed me to the ground. And this happened twice. This has happened on 2 occasions, I should reiterate. Then they tried to put me on an ITO, which they did, and I said, you can't do this because you've kept me awake for over 25 hours. I'm extremely stressed. And I'm a dialysis patient. For I'm a dialysis patient, man. I'm weak. I'm nearly 50 years old. I don't hurt anybody. I love animals. So anyway, they take me to Caboolture. And that was on a Thursday. So they tried to lump all my medications on me at one time in one instance, which is violation of Hippocratic Oath, because if they were real psychiatrists, they would have titrated the medication correctly. They would have given me blood tests according to and I have low EGFR, stage 5 kidney disease. So my clearance is compromised. But none of this was ever considered. And you know what happened? I vomited for hours. Well, not hours, but I vomited and shit myself like crazy. So I had to deny the medication. And they didn't give me any dialysis until the following Tuesday. This is Caboolture mental health. And so I had to practically beg for dialysis. They put me in a room called Surge 1, and there were 3 other men, no shower access. And anytime I needed a shower, I had to use other people's showers, and I had to seek that out. Look, I'm not complaining, man. You know, it is what it is. It happened. Now, I was able to get out in 6 days. I was able to use reason and logic. We came to a compromise. I have OCD. I do have OCD. Okay. Now, very complex OCD can sometimes manifest itself with psychotic symptoms, but it's not psychosis. And I've been through the rigmarole. I have had to access, mainly for anxiety attacks, psychiatry when I was 16. I went to a new school called Murrayfield High, and I had this thing called cheerphobia. I had really long hair like a rock star, and anxiety attacks. For the first time I'd been to a brand new school. And the ads, man. Hold on, sorry. Let's play this. You know, and okay, and that the psychiatrist diagnosed with OCD. Cool. Had to do some exposure therapy because I was wearing a towel on my head at night to try and evade the fear of losing my hair. I know it's crazy, man. And in hindsight, it does seem crazy, like, because I've fully recovered from this. And I had clomipramine back then, which is a tricyclic medication. So it works on norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin. Increases serotonin, increases norepinephrine, drops dopamine back a little bit. It is an anticholinergic medication, but it can cause constipation. And it did cause me quite a bit of sleeplessness. I was engaged with Queensland Mental for OCD. So 18, I was at uni doing visual illustration major. And anxiety was mostly good. But they put me onto paroxetine, which worked out pretty well. The only problem with that medication, it gave me excessive sweating, which I didn't realise it was doing so for a lot of years. And I'd be working spinal injuries and I'd be sweating on my clients, not really knowing why. And it's interesting because I have to take it at night because it sedates me, as opposed to most normal people, it stimulates them. It's an SSRI medication, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. Right, so I followed that protocol without incident. And in some ways it actually probably kept my bowel a little bit regular. So fast forward to Caboolture psych, illegal admission. Beaten by the security, not beaten, but, you know, tackled. So we agreed to take clomipramine twice. And it's funny because he told me not to talk about religion, which I'd forgotten about. And now I realise it's got me in trouble. Because I am spiritual and I'm allowed to be. It gives me peace, gives me purpose, helps me take care of my fellow man, helps me serve. And I did for many, many years, 28 years in fact, as a 7-day Adventist. And I lived in Townsville and Brisbane, sort of on and off. And I know I seem self-absorbed, and I apologise for that. It's just, I have to be introverted at this moment so I can concentrate and express exactly. And I plead Ryan's rule. Okay. Now, commence clomipramine without issue. I have compacted bowel now. So anticholinergic medication, can't keep taking it. It's going to make things bad. And I was reluctant to use Movicol because my brother, who died of cancer in beginning of 2018, February, he had melanoma. It had infiltrated his spine. He was relying on Movicol for a long time, and he had boxes of it. And I thought last year, because I do have diverticulitis, and mostly I have diarrhea. Sometimes it flips, and then I have constipation. So last year I tried to use it, and it gave me gut spasms. So I was like, man, it's not working. So I tried to mitigate my bowel through other things like prune juice, things like that, natural laxatives, and it wasn't working. So I think just a result of the immobility from the dialysis, because when I had my fistula in November, I essentially stopped exercising. I thought, you know what, I've tried really hard to live my life. I've tried to do everything right. And here I am with IgA nephropathy. And you know what, I don't care, because I gave it my best shot. And if I die, I die. I don't care, because I'll find peace in the afterlife. But that doesn't mean I'm suicidal at all, okay? And I think the immobility has maybe affected my bowel in some way. But good news is I've been starting to walk to the train station for dialysis, because now they've shifted me to Royal Brisbane. And hang on, please, if you just wait, my cat needs to go out.